This is the Mad Dragons Podcast.
Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons Podcast as the Dragons head into a local derby as rank outsiders. But in desperately searching for a positive, I found a pattern that has been going on since 2009. The Dragons at Shark Park have gone 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 wins, 2 losses, etc. And the Sharks have won the last 2. So by the power of logic, we can't possibly lose. Asman, how's the team looking?
Well, the team looks a little bit like this. So Tyrell Sloan at fullback, Matt Fine and Ravalawa on the wings, Lomax and Tautau Moga in the centres, with Moses Sully having the week off under the concussion protocols. Jaden Sullivan will partner Bent Hunt in the halves after Hunt decided, I'm not going to fight you when you told me I've got to hang around. The forwards, we've got Frankie Molo, Blake Laurie, Jacob Little, Ben Medlock-Masilla, Jaden Sewer, and Jack DeBellin. And on the interchange, we've got Junior Ramon, Michael Molo, Toby Couchman, who, along with his brother, absolutely smashed it in New South Wales Cup last week, and Jaden Hunt. Ryan Couchman is the 18th man, and the referee is Grant Atkins. So that's how we line up, Donnie.
Fantastic, mate. Well, we'll definitely get into chatting about the Dragons team, but as we do every week on a Tuesday, first of all, let's get into the opposition. So let's strike into this one.
Come with me as we go behind enemy lines.
Well, g'day, Dragons fans. I'm Big T, and this is Behind Enemy Lines, round 18. Before I bring in our guest, I'll run through the Sharkies team. We've got Will Kennedy at the back, Sandy Katoa and Ronaldo Mulatalo on the wings. He should be playing soccer, that bloke. Ramian and Talakai in the centres. Matty Moylan and Nico Hines at the halves. Oregon Kafusi, Blake Brayley, and Braden Hamlin Newelly. What a big boy he is. What a bopper. They're at the front. Nikora and Wilton in the second row. Dale Finucane is locking the scrum. McInnes, Hazelton, Williams, Wade Graham on the bench. Connor Tracy is the 18th man, and the coach is Craig Fitzgibbon. All right, I'd like to bring in Dan. Dan from Rugby League Outlaws. Welcome back, buddy.
Mate, thank you so much. I had such a good time last time. I was very happy to accept yet again. You didn't go too hard on me. It's been a tough week. Go as hard as you want. I completely understand.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too hard on you, mate. We're on the bottom, so there's only one way up for us. Yeah, so I think I asked you last time. You've always been a Sharkies fan?
Absolutely, born into it. Somewhat, unfortunately, up to 2016.
Nice. Yeah.
Kids are born into it as well. They don't have a choice.
So are my boys. I said if they support anyone else, they can sleep with the dog.
That's completely fair. Their mummy's a Manly fan, which is my greatest regret of all time. But they've avoided that plague, which has been quite nice, much to her.
At least you guys have got the Steve Rogers Cup, eh?
Exactly. We got all the cups at the moment. Hopefully, touch wood. But we'll see.
Nice. All right. No team has ever won the competition after having 50 points scored against them. How are the Sharks going to do it this year?
They're not. I'm a little bit more. Look, Cronulla they're gonna finish comfortably in the top 8, and then from then it's anybody's guess. So it's going to come down to a bit of luck in the finals. Last year we ran out of luck, and some would say we played some harder opposition, which I vehemently disagree with. But look, mate, if Nico Hines catches fire again, who knows? Maybe we do buck that trend. Quite frankly, I hope someone does because I'm sick of hearing about it.
Yeah.
Of course, if you cop 50 points, you've had a bad game. But look, I like to see Penrith cop 50 points over the Origin team, Origin period, because I think they'll end it before us. But for the purpose of this podcast, we'll do it because Will Kennedy will come from nowhere and be the form fullback on the back end of the competition.
Oh, Will Kennedy's a good player, mate. He's fast, he's strong, he's a good defender. He puts his body on the line. But I was going to ask you about Nico Hines. He came back against us earlier this year. He come back from injury. This year, we're playing him again, but he's coming back a lack of form. Can he find what he brought against us last time?
Absolutely. You can never count a champion out, especially one as good as Nico recently. I don't know if I 100% agree with the out of form. He had a shocker against the Storm, but there wasn't one player from that Sharks outfit I would have made them all work home, put it that way. Against the Bulldogs, he took them apart and he was in a world of his own. 6 Dally M points all across the board, easy as. Yeah, look, he's got a bit of a reputation as being a flat track bully, but you take Nico Hines out of that side and we don't beat the Bulldogs by 40 points. We probably only beat them by 18 or 20. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident, so much so that I'll go on here to say that if you guys outscore Nico Hines, I'm considering that a loss.
You do a lap naked, right?
I'll do a lap. I don't know about naked, but we'll see. We'll see.
Who was that guy who owes this one? I can't remember his name, but yeah, someone owes this one, yeah.
James Jimmy Gray.
Oh, that's him, yeah. Come on, James. Come on, do it. Toby Rudolph's been named on the extended bench. Who gets dropped for him? And what does he bring to the team?
I would be dropping Wade Graham, full disclosure. The news I'm getting is that Toby isn't quite right. We may see him for Newtown, but that's far from confirmed. I doubt very much we'll see him on the weekend. Look, prior to his injury, he was actually our best forward. Now, I know people think of him as this larrikin. He's the funny guy. He's the guy who's like always on the Matty John show. He's got his podcast. He's a good footballer, and he was our best forward early in the season. Played a lone hand more often than not, which is perhaps why people are focusing on the off-field stuff. Plus, he's such a lovely guy, of course. But look, his meters, you can't guarantee any Shark on any night in the 8 to 17 is going to run for 100 meters. But you can guarantee Toby will be the closest if they don't. So, mate, I miss him. I think he adds some energy that we haven't had, even in the big wins. And he's just such a likable guy, and people just seem to lift around him. So I would like to see him back, but I think it'll be against the Tigers next Thursday. Oh,
cool. Yeah, I like Toby Rudolph. He's a good player. And in 2023, you can be whatever you want. So that's fine, you know. I'm right behind him. You guys are almost full strength. Royce Hunt and Caden Dykes is out. That's all you've got out. And Toby, but I think he'll play this week. It's just what all crowd people will say he's not playing. Anyway, what are they doing right, and what do they have to do right to beat the Dragons this weekend?
Probably the same answer. I score a lot of points. With the greatest respect, I can't see a lot of points in the Dragons. Because there is a bit of rain actually around, which worries me a little bit, because on a flat track, I think we guys put 50 on you. If it gets into one of those derby games where Dragons lead maybe 10-0, then it starts raining, then Cronulla start thinking we should be putting 50 on. That's when the panic kicks in. Mate, if we score first and second and lead 12-0 at any stage, I think it's game over. But if we trail 12-0, I think this game could be a real slugfest and not one I would want to watch as a neutral.
Yeah, that's nice. Great. I think the Dragons can do you this weekend. I've just got that kind of feeling. Anyone else got a question for Dan?
Yeah, I got a question for Dan. How are you, mate? Rob, how you going? Mate, do you think that Matt Moylan should join Corey Norman in the local retirement village at the end of the season?
I do, yes. Now, I'm an unashamed fan of Matt Moylan. I love the bloke on and off the field, but his time's come. We got Braden Trindle, who's the best player in New South Wales Cup. It's a cheat code. Cade Dykes would be there if he wasn't injured. We got young Puru, who's coming through. Yeah, he can't. I was calling for his head a couple of weeks ago. I thought, cut the cord, put Trindle in, but definitely end the season, I think you see Cade Dykes as a long-term number 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan, you mentioned Newtown. You sort of said you don't think the Sharks can win the comp, but your reserve grade team sitting up in equal first, just second on for and against. A big game this weekend for our Dragons, sitting just outside the top 5. Is Newtown your chance for a bit of success this year, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I had them pegged. Like, they won the minor premiership last year, and I mean that was Penrith's comp to lose. But we got unlucky because we had so many injuries, and it happens. I'm not using it as an excuse, but we had to call so many players up. Ikavalu went down with an ACL in the first prelim. I know that sounds weird, but 2 prelims, such was the way it was. We lost wingers. We lost the useless fullback he's up in Newcastle now. Don't care anymore. Lockie Miller, that's the name. That's a bit rude. Yeah, look, this team is very good. I mean, Jesse Colquhoun could play first grade at 5 or 6 sides. Tom Hazelton will probably go back to Newtown when we're at full fitness. He could play in a handful of sides. Jaden Beryl, I think you guys should sign tomorrow and put him as your starting 9. I think he's a cheat code. Trindle's the same. How he isn't running out for you guys or even the Tigers this weekend is crazy. So, yeah, I'm very, very confident in the Jets if Cronulla don't fall apart and we have to call players up.
Just a question in the chat from Muzzer, who's he's suspended from the VOD this week. He swore at the captain, but he says, how much does Nico have his hair insured for?
It must be a lot. Like, I know wet hair Nico's become a thing. When he runs down the tunnel, I'm leaning out with a bottle of water and trying to get it. Mate, the guy's got the best hair in the world, and I mean, I'm not, I'm holding on, but I'd swap in 10 seconds, that's for sure.
Arguably, mate, I'll argue with that one because Dallin Martini's a Lesniak's got a nice hairdo.
That is fantastic. We were trying to get perm wigs for Outlaws this week. We just couldn't find them. Good shout. Great shout.
Yeah, it is, mate. It is. Yeah. All right, anybody else? No, Coco's not there. Everyone has, man. Any questions?
Yep. So, Dan, if we have a look at the matchups, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later as well, but I just want to get your thoughts on this. Now, the Dragons' left edge has been a little bit dodgy, let's say. What do you reckon Mulatalo and Talakai are going to do to Fine and Moga?
Yeah, I think Reece Walsh said the words. I won't, but Cronulla have this thing where we find a way forward and we'll score 2 tries and we'll forget about it. I'm hoping this week is the week that we go early and often. Again, with the greatest respects to a talented player, and Moga, has never let anyone down. If Talakai and Ronaldo don't get at least a try each, I think it's a disappointment. I think we might see a repeat of the Sifa Talakai game from a couple of years ago against Manly, which, is a blessing and it's a good end bag because everyone goes back to it. But I think this week us Talakai fans will have a little bit to go hard on that. But I tell you what, when Sully was ruled out, I hate to see it because of the head knock, of course. But he's the one player that really worries me because when he's on, he can do some real damage.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dan. It's been great talking to you, man. You always give us good response. Well, this is where I like to take a walk down memory lane. Sorry, hang on. Jesse's got his hand up. Go on, Jess.
My question's not particularly about the derby, but my question's about more the Sharks this season. They've been people have classed them as the flat track bullies. That they've beaten every side they're expected to this year, but they've struggled against other top 8 sides. They were sort of like that last year too. I haven't seen really any signs that they've got any better this year. Do you think they've got to work on that before they head into the semi-finals?
Oh, mate, undisputedly. I mean, I can sit here and argue all night, but the facts back up. We are flat track bullies. Now, I've seen people say that we haven't beaten anyone inside the 8, and they keep changing it. Like, we beat Parramatta, and they're sitting in the 8. They're flying. We beat the Cowboys, by 50 points. They're going to be in the 8 after this weekend. So I don't buy into that. But until we beat a Melbourne or a Penrith or a Bunnies, yeah, 100%. That's completely fair. And I hate to admit that on a Dragons podcast, but the facts are the facts. I don't think we have the defense to worry the big teams this year. I think once you see Jesse Colquhoun come in, you see Cade Dykes come in. Dykes is a big body. He's gone way under the radar with this ACL. I think next year's the year you start seeing us routinely beat these sides and push on for that second premiership.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Dan. But now let's get back to where I walked down memory lane. I could go back to the last time we beat you.
Long time ago.
That was at Campbelltown, 2018. It was during the lie in front of 103 people. Woo-hoo, huge crowd. And those brave Dragons fans that were up the top of the car park at the waving their flags, they were good. But I'm going to go back to round 6, 2018, in front of a healthy crowd of just under 18,000 people. It was Mary versus Flano. Penalty goal to start, Dragons 2-0. Develop past the Dufty, runs to the left, switches to the right, runs around 3 or 4 players, and then finds a hole in the defence. Trent Hodgkinson grasped me there, just scored in the corner. Beautiful, Dragons 6-0. In the 12th minute, Gallon limps off. He looked finished, but he did come back on, and there could be a bit of a link there between the Dragons and Paul Gallon. I'm not sure. Let's see what happens in the future. 14th minute, McGuinness a sin bin for tackling Dugan. So took a quick tap, off to the bin you go. See you later. While the Dragons were down to 12, little interchange pass between Bailey and Fafita. Bailey under the post. That was a nice little try, that one. Good interchange of passes. And then, Sharks do it again. Edric Lee in the corner. Sharks lead 10-8. 2 more penalty goals to the Dragons. 12-10 Dragons. Then Cameron McGuinness comes back on, slices through weak defence from Wade Graham and Kurt Dillon. I don't remember Kurt Dillon, but anyway, doing the same thing as Dufty and scores in the corner. Let's go to the second half. Dragons were leading. What was it? Sorry, 16-10 at half time. It didn't start good for the Sharks. 2 minutes in, Nightingale pirouettes, passes to Dufty. Dufty was flat-footed. Steps one, steps twice, straight through to the fence. Burns the Sharks, scores from 25 out under the post, 22-10 to the Dragons. 4 minutes later, Paul Vaughan gets the ball, 5 minutes out from the line. And with some footwork that Michael Jackson would be proud of, steps one way, dives over, slams the ball down, 28-10. The Sharks pepped up. Did you see what I did there? Pepped. The Sharks pepped up, moving the ball right. Dugan, magic flick past to Val Holmes. Val Holmes runs around, scores 28-14. To the Dragons, I should say. Sharks again, Hodgkinson, a little ball to Ricky Laterali. Try, 28-10. Dragons, 20 to go. The Sharks are coming home. They're coming home. No, they didn't. Sorry. Two more tries. One to DeBellin. A Herculean effort. He struggles from Luke Lewis, Matt Moreland, Jaden Brayley. Powerful astray from the Orange Star at the time. Great try. Dragons are over. Late in the game, beautiful short pass. Aiken over. Dragons 40-20. The rest is history. Thanks for coming on the Mad Dragons podcast. You've been an absolute champion. Back to you, Donnie, in the central commentary box.
Fantastic, mate. Are you reading that from a newspaper from 2018? What's going on there?
No, I'm reading that from what I watched yesterday. Yeah.
A couple of times you started. I thought it was a big newspaper.
Right, you mate. Go on, son. Let's go.
Jesse.
I've got one other question for Dan.
Yeah.
Dan, what are your thoughts of, I don't know if anyone's touched on this already. What are your thoughts on Flano being our coach next year? He's coached Cronulla in the past.
That's a good question.
Oh,
That's a good question. I know he's got some thoughts here.
Get the filters ready. I don't think he had a choice, full disclosure. I think he was the only person. On field and on field only, he won us a premiership. He picked, he's responsible for Val. He's responsible for the big signings. But you can't mention Shane Flanagan without saying, yeah, but the peptides, yeah, but the salary cap, yeah, but sending emails when you're suspended for 12 months. It's a ride. It's a roller coaster. It's a lot of fun. If you can say to him, hey, it's you on field, but the second you leave it, you got nothing to do with everything. That's ideal, and I think you'll improve dramatically. Your defense will improve. You'll notice straight away. I know he doesn't start till next year, but by round 3 or 4 next year, you guys will be thinking, sweet, we're on the right way. But he's only ever one email or one witch doctor away from a hell of a couple of weeks, trust me. So I say buckle up and enjoy it. And as we say on Fins Up, F you.
Well, I think that's the perfect way to leave it, mate. Thanks very much for joining us. And yeah, it's always a lot of fun to engage in a bit of banter with a guy that knows how to do it right.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you so much, guys. Anytime.
All right. Beautiful. All right. Well, now we've got Jesse on. He's always a little bit late on a Tuesday night, but now that he's on, we'll go straight into his segment. Hope this is your one. You're on mute.
Good evening,
mate.
guys.
Yeah.
So my question is regarding our last derby. So actually, our last derby at Shark Park that we won. So when can you name when our last derby was won at Shark Park? And you fire away, and there'll be a second question to follow that, and if you can name the try scorers as well, that would be good. So yeah, if you can remember the try scorers, and first name the year, then the try scorers, and then I'll go on to the second question following that.
Yep. All right. We'll see if a few 2016 Jackson's data says.
No, that's not correct.
All right. Peter Placidio Veneziano says, was it 2012? That's a long time ago.
No,
I
not
imagine
that
it's
long.
a little bit more
Little-
recent than 2012, I think.
No, it's a bit more recent than that. But
Bit more
keep
recent than
thinking.
that. Oh, here we go. There's a clue. Rory McDonald says 2018.
yeah, that is correct. That is correct.
Yep, Rory's got the answer. So 2018. Can anyone remember the score? Was that the next thing you wanted to know?
The score and if you can name the try scores. If you can't, that's okay.
Well, I think
I'll reveal
naming the try scorers from memory might be a bit of a stretch. And if someone's
Well-
cheating, I'm sure they can name the try scorers. But
Okay, well, yeah, just name the score. Just go with the score.
Yeah, Rory said Big T just told us. He says 40-20.
No, that's not
I
correct.
think the one Big T was talking about was 2018, but I don't think it was at Shark
Yeah.
Park.
No,
No,
that was at Wynn
And that was in
Stadium. Big
Campbelltown.
time.
Yeah.
No, we played them at Wollongong that 40-20
Oh, no,
game.
Wollongong, yeah, sorry. Campbelltown was 20.
Campbelltown was COVID year.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, the lie year.
Oh, Big T he wants to turn it political all the time. So, well, no, it was the other game in 2018 at Shark Park. What was the score of that one? Oh, Rory, he's upset. Jackson's data says 20-16.
That is correct. Yes.
There we go. Righto. Well, run us through the try scorers then, mate.
So the first try went to Nene McDonald. So he scored off a memorable kick from Gareth Widdett for the corner.
Watch me whip, watch me Nene.
And Nene jumped, caught it. He had his arm in his ball in his left hand, transformed, then managed to put it into his right hand and got it down one-handed with absolutely no room in the corner. If you look it up, you'll probably remember it. It was one of the tries of the season. He was a freak try scorer for us. And then the next one went to Ewan Aitken to break it sorry, no, not Ewan Aiken. It was Tyson Frizzell, and off a kick from Ben Hunt, and then Ewan Aiken scored to get us in front 16-14. Then I think Cronulla got a late penalty goal, and yeah, we got two. I think we got 2 more penalty goals at the end to win 20 points to 16, and we were down 14-0 in the first half with Cronulla having to win to get their backs in the first half. So yeah, Cronulla we led 14-0, but we ran them down in the second half to win 20 to 16. The last time we won a derby at Shark Park.
And
Well,
our favourite man was the referee, Peter Goff.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
there you go.
And-
We got a pretty good record with him.
And I'll move on to my next question now. Then
Oh, it's a follow-up question.
we've got a follow-up one tonight. So our next question is: so, of the last 8 meetings at Shark Park, who's won? How is the ledger square? How is the ledger? So who's won more games? Is it even? Have the Dragons won more games? Have the Sharks won more games? So just give me a number. So the last 8, who's won how many?
Of the last 8.
The last
Yes.
8, the last 8 overall.
At Shark Park.
Actually, the last 8 at
Ooh.
Shark Park.
Jeebus. What do you
Yes.
get for winning,
Well, I might have spoiled this for you in the intro, mate.
Donny? What do you get for winning, Donny? What do you get for winning?
Well, we don't have a sponsor yet, mate.
Oh, we need a sponsor.
We don't have
what
a
about-
sponsor yet. Rory McDonald says 4-4.
Yes. Yes.
Well, again, it's been. I said in the intro that it's been win-win, loss, win-win, loss, going all the way back to 2009. So at
Yep.
Shark Park, so we've lost the last 2 at Shark Park, so we're guaranteed to win, which is what I said right at the top of the show. So anyone that's been watching since the beginning would have known that one. So Rory's latched onto that and got the right answer.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful.
Good on
Thanks,
you,
Jeff.
Rory. We'll see you again next week. We'll we'll have one for the Canberra Raiders game next week.
That's it. That's it. That's always that's basically another local derby, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you could say that.
That's more the Steelers local derby against the Raiders, 2 teams that came in '82. So this is more the St George Dragons one this weekend. So couple of huge games for the club in the next couple of weeks in terms of what we should expect in terms of turnouts and passion for it. So really looking forward to the next couple of weeks. All right, we get in now to having a chat about our team. Chloe, I'm glad you finished your dinner just in time for your first question. Comes from, it's more an information gathering one. So comes from Kim Stilettos. Wants to know how long Moses Sully is out for.
Well, based on the NRL standards and protocols, if Moses Sully doesn't have any symptoms, he should be available for our Raiders game. He'll miss this week, so 11 days it should be. Hopefully he's symptom free and he should be back for the Raiders game.
Fantastic. Well, that's good to know that he's only out for the 1 week. So a big part of our team. And as Dan said in Behind Enemy Lines, when Moses Sully is on and firing, he is an absolute weapon. I don't think we've seen the best of him so far in 2023. I think he was a lot more effective for us last year, but hopefully he can be a bit better heading into the back half of the season. All right, Rob, staying on the replacement for Moses Sully, do you think Ryan Jump in My Car has made the right call to bring in Tautau Moga, or would you have preferred he went a different way?
The tough question, Donny. Moga hasn't let us down. In the last game he played for us, he was pretty strong, if I remember, on the wing. Defensively, scored a couple of tries. When we had the 2 Fengai brothers together recently, it was a bit of a disaster. I don't know much about the young chap who's playing in the centres in the reserve grade side. Savilu Tamal. I'm sure
Savelio Tamali.
Marley, sorry, apologies. Fill us in a bit more on him.
Yeah, he's 18, mate. I think he might be a ways off.
So I did hear Ryan Carr in a press conference say that Amon was good utility for him, good utility value, and had played centre in the past as well. So I don't know whether that was an option, but then that would have brought back us with Mr. Mbai coming back into the team. So probably not the best. And then to make everybody laugh, Big T, didn't Mr. Benny Hunt play 15 minutes in centre in the first State of Origin match? Maybe we
Ben Hunt play centre.
Yeah, the last 15
Oh
minutes.
yeah, he did, mate. Yeah, he did. Like, but he did. He made it work.
Yeah, well, maybe we get the wooden spoon out and put him there. Put him there.
Put him in the centres. Put him in the centres. Yeah. Put him in the centres.
So to answer your
Moses
question,
Mbai after.
Try anything, mate. Try anything.
yeah, so I'm not sure, mate. You know, like I think Moga will acquit himself well.
Yeah, I think Muzzer raised the point on the show on Sunday. Said, is Moga part of our future? If he's not part of our future, why are we going to put him in there? Why wouldn't we try somebody who's actually going to be there next season?
Correct. But
So do you subscribe to that theory, or do you think we should be doing whatever we can, put the best players available, so we can try and avoid the spoon? Like, is avoiding the spoon the main aim, or is preparing for next year the main aim?
Well, that's a tough one again, Donny, because I mean, in the history of the joint venture, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's been no spoon. So obviously we don't want a spoon. But in saying that, we're in a rebuilding phase with Flano coming in, so it does make common sense to blood new players. So they can be looked at. So yeah, it's a really, really, really hard one. I mean, as a proud supporter, there's no way I want the spoon, but then I want, obviously, if there's talent there, and it's the only way that can be seen, we're not going to make the top 8. So give some of these younger ones a run. So yeah, mate, it's a big catch-22 one, that one.
Rob Splinters Saguna tonight.
I'm sitting on the fence, mate.
Kaka, you got your hand up there?
I might get flack for this, but I've been thinking, I know we hate the spoon, and we don't want to get the spoon, but you know what? If we're in the rebuild, like, this might be our shit year. We can have a shit year. Next year's our rebuild. And then let's think of positive, because, we were absolutely abysmal last week. It was horrendous. So I just think this year, let's focus on the rebuild with Flano, because I don't know, we can't go, the ship is sinking to the end. We're going to, so right off this season and let's aim for next year. But I might get it flack. So everyone come at me if you want to.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we certainly value opinions on this show. That's all we've got. People think that, we might come across as arrogant, know-it-all tosses from time to time, and we pretend that we know it all, but we really don't. At the end of the day, all we've got is opinions, and that's what we're here to give, and it's just a bit of fun at the end of the day. But I think that's a perfectly valid way of thinking. But yeah, I'm sort of with Rob in terms of sitting on the fence. I really don't want the spoon, and I think Tau Moga is the best option. I think if you look at the other options to come in, that we've already seen most of them, and they haven't worked. Like, they might be young players that are going to be there next year, but yeah, I'd be questioning whether guys like Max Fine is actually part of our future long term. So yeah, let's go with the best option available. All right, Hasman, Brian Barron questions the selection of Matt Fine after his opposite number scored 4 tries on him last week. He wants to know how he holds his place.
Lack of depth would be my only conclusion on that. I mean, he's been pretty dreadful recently, to be perfectly frank with you. If there was any sort of other option, I think Fine would be long gone. But yeah, look, I'm with Brian. I can't work out why he's still there. I mean, who else have we got, apart from Moga, that can sort of play on the wing at NRL level. I mean, the way I look at it, so a mate of mine have got this, and I have got this phrase for when we're having our last beer, and we'll say to each other, right, this is ABF, which stands for absolute bloody final. I've got another one for that. Anyone but Fine. I'd much rather would have. I reckon if Sully hadn't gone out with concussion, I reckon there's a chance that Moga might have come onto the wing after that performance last week. That was just absolutely bloody horrendous. He's got to learn to stay on his wing and not bloody rush in. I mean, yeah, Ravaloa does it too, but nowhere near as much. So no, look, unless you can get inside Brian Carr's head, I guess we'll never know exactly why he keeps picking him.
Yeah, and I think there's certainly a lot of criticism for Matty Feeney on social media pages, but I do want to do something that we haven't done before, and this might not work at all, but I'll give it a crack. I want to open up the telestrator to have a look at some still shots, because we can't use video on this show, but just have a look at some still shots from the game on the weekend. Now, with this one, you can see here, Sean's nickel clock star. Oh, we didn't want that. Picked the wrong one. So CNK here is on the outside of Moses Sully. So if Matty Feeney doesn't come in, then it's a pretty easy run straight through here for Charles Nickel Cookstar. So that one is absolutely straightforward. He had to jam in there, otherwise they score anyway. So, and this is a pretty similar story across all of these tries that were scored against us. Once again, here you see Jack Bird over here that's rushed up and in, and you've got so basically 1, 2, 3, and only Matt Feeney out here. So it's 3-on-1. So what is he supposed to do in this situation when everybody on the inside has raced in? He's confronted with a 3-on-1 situation, and it's all Matt Feeney's fault. Get stuffed, like fair dinkum. And we go on to the next one. Another try. So this one again, you see Jack Bird has raced in, and you've got 1, 2 players on the outside. So again, he's faced with a 2-on-1 situation. Now, in this particular try, Bird misses this tackle. Like, if you can believe that, like, look at where he is in that still. He misses that tackle. Cookstar goes past him, and it ends up basically being a 3-on-1 against Feeney again. And once again, it's Matty Feeney that gets the blame. He's not completely blameless. Again, you see here, Juns has come onto the field. He's raced up. So you've got Bird and Feeney out here up against 1, 2, 3 players out here. So again, it's a 3-on-2 situation. So he's going to come in. If you wind this one forward a little bit, you get to this stage, and once again, you've got this bloke who is on the outside of Bird. Feeney probably in this one is the most at fault in that he wasn't fast enough in getting across. They are sliding across, and he wasn't fast enough, and Wateni Zalesniak just showed too much speed, and Matty didn't have quite enough. But this is probably the one where he was the most at fault. So in 4 tries, there's really only one where he was absolutely 100% at fault. Again, in this one, it's 2-on-1 situation. So in all of these situations, Matty Feeney is faced with multiple attackers and just him. So I just think that we're getting it a little bit wrong by saying it is all Matt Feeney's fault. It's not all his fault. He is faced with an impossible situation. Players run these 2-on-1 situations 1,001 times every single week at training. So I understand that his winger scored 4 tries against him, but to put it all on the winger, I think you're missing the point. Jesse?
well, as we said on Sunday, like we mentioned how the defensive line is, we're so we always wait for the attacking side to run to us, and then all of a sudden our centers and wingers rush infield, trying to shut down the play, and then the opposition team find that space and get it out to the centers and wingers, and then by the time our defenders see them, they're right behind them and they score. Like what is with our defense? Like Flano's already identified that our fitness is a big concern, and he's already putting stuff to he's putting these implementations what he wants to do to fix that. So yeah, obviously he sees that as a concern, but yeah, what do you think? Like, is our defense, our style of defense, that needs to be addressed as well? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think we kind of half addressed that on Sunday's show, saying that the reserve grade side seems to have actually changed up their defensive structure since Hook's left, whereas the NRL side hasn't. They've stayed with the exact same structure that was there when Hook was there. And the reserve grade side, they've won 5 of their last 7. They look a lot more solid defensively. They don't seem to be getting stripped on the edges quite as often. If you go back and look at the first sort of, I don't know, 10 or 11 rounds, however long Hook was there, and you watch the reserve grade highlights, every single try, just about, I'd say 85% of tries are scored from wingers coming up and in and making the wrong decision. You're not seeing that on the highlights now. And again, it's difficult not being able to watch whole games and see how often they do get stripped down the side. But from what I'm being told, they're running a different defensive structure in reserve grade compared to what they were at the start of the year, and it's working. So I agree with you, Jesse. We need to have a look at it, and we need to make those adjustments. And yeah, I don't think it's all Matt Fino's fault. I'm not saying he's blameless. He certainly hasn't been fantastic, but I think a lot of it comes down to coaching and structure and the way that everyone on that side is interacting with each other. And reacting to situations as they unfold as well. The inside is not reacting quick enough. And yeah, we just don't have enough speed to be giving players like Watene Zelezniak room. And that's the way our defensive structure is set up, is it'll be good if we had speed, but we don't. So we've got to change it.
And then Thursday will be even more dangerous because they've got 2 flyers, Katoa and Mulatalo, 2 of the quickest wingers in the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's definitely a concern on the edges, and hopefully they can make the adjustment quickly, but I wouldn't be holding my breath. Big T, Rory McDonald points out that another forward that has scored a try has been dropped the week after scoring.
I did notice that.
After scoring and only getting 14 minutes of playing time, do you think Zane Musgrove's unlucky?
14 minutes of playing time, try, 5 runs, 37 metres, 4 tackle breaks, 1 line break, 1 offload, 5 tackles, no misses. I think so unlucky, man. I don't know. 14 minutes, how can you prove yourself in 14 minutes? Well, Michael Muller had a good game too. I liked him in that game, but yeah, Musgrove was he's been hard done by for sure.
Yeah, I thought he came on. He had a bit of an impact. I would have liked to see him get a bit more minutes than 14 minutes. To be quite frank, given the way that game was going, I don't think he did a lot wrong in those 14 minutes and finds himself out of the team.
Did we work out? Did we use 8 interchanges that game? There hasn't anybody because on the NRL it says we used 4.
So the last I heard was we used at least 7.
Oh, okay.
So the NRL site was wrong. I don't know if it's been updated since.
It's not always right.
But we never used that 18th man when we could have Big T as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was
a big
head,
error.
you know, like, what are you doing, boys?
Yeah, no.
But anyway, I don't think our 18th man would have made much difference to the scoreline.
Well, Jaden Hunt, mate, he could have scored 30 points in 3 minutes. You don't know.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, Musgrave was hard. It has been hard done by. I don't know why he's put him out. And Bird's out as well, so we'll probably talk about that later anyway.
Yep, there we do have a question about that a bit later on, but Jesse, David Kearns, he noticed that my man Billy Burns named on the extended bench, along with Moses Mbai and also off-contract centre Tau Moga in the 17. With Moses Mbai already given his marching orders, which of the remaining off-contract players do you expect has the best chance of getting an extension?
Ooh, I don't know. I have full off contract players. Just give me a sec.
Well, I've given you 3 of them. There's only 5, so
Well,
Nick Louis Toso's the other one, and
yeah, I
Terrell
think I don't-
Fuamano's the other one.
okay. Well, I don't think Nick Louis Tozo's never been looked at to play first grade this year, so I think he'll be going out the door. And unfortunately, Terrell Fuamano will be joining him. I think he's still got a surgery to go on his hip. Yeah, I think it's going to be a long road to recovery for him to get that right. Yeah, I think those two will be joining the likes of Moses Mbai.
So of those 5, forget that the most likely might be a 1% chance. Which one do you think of those 5 is most likely to earn an extension?
Most likely, I would probably say Tau Moga.
Bullshit, Billy Burns, come on. Give the right answer.
You'd love that. No, I think Tau Moga, he's never let us down when he's had the opportunity. And we still need some experience in those outside backs. I mean, if injury strikes early next year or at some point, we do need some experience and depth out there. And Savelio Tamale, as you said, he's a little bit green. We don't know if he'll be ready to jump straight into first grade yet next year, but yeah, I'd keep him just for those purposes. But who knows what Flano wants?
Yeah, I do tend to agree with you, mate. I think you're 100% right. Every time Tau Moga's been given an opportunity in the top grade, he has stood out and looked like he can fill a place as a depth player at NRL level. Every time Billy Burns has stepped up to NRL level, he's looked like he belongs in reserve grade, unfortunately. So yeah, I think they're the 2 most likely out of the 5. Given Moses Mbai's already been told he's got his marching orders, but I think all 5 of them are about less than 10% chance of being retained. I think all 5 are on the way out of the club. All right, Chloe. Vince Ocellio noticed in the team announcement there was no C next to anyone's name. Are you expecting Ben Hunt to retain the captaincy, or will the club listen to the vast majority of their fans and remove the captaincy from him?
Well, after the week and a half we've had about him, first of all, I think him not having the captaincy might help him just relax a bit more with the ball, maybe with the game, be a bit more freely, having that responsibility with the team. Because on Friday night, when I watched in the sheds, he looked depleted. He looked checked out, and he just wasn't he didn't give a shit really. So, I just think that give someone else a chance. If he does. We know that he's not happy at our club at the moment. We know all that. So let's give it to someone that actually cares. I don't know who. Maybe Jack DeBellin, maybe Blake Laurie. I don't know. But yeah, I was surprised there was no captain on him either. I thought, what's going on? Spill the tea, Ryan Carr. Spill the tea.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, Chloe. That that in terms of every fan, I have not spoken to anybody that thinks that Ben Hunt should still be the captain. Everybody agrees that he should not be the captain. But I think that Vince might have just seen the team list and the no C next to his name. NRL side still has Ben Hunt named as the captain in the Dragon side, so he will be the captain. There will be no change. The club are not listening to fans on this issue, and again, everybody, all Dragons fans are all saying, I want to put my faith in Flano. Flano's the man. Flano's the guy that is the one we have to trust now. Well, I would be about 85% sure that Hunt remaining captain is coming from Shane Flanagan. He wants Ben Hunt as his captain. He wants Ben Hunt in the side. He wants Ben Hunt kept happy. So if you're going to trust in Flano, trust in him that Ben Hunt is the right man to stay as captain for now. I personally feel a bit sick in the stomach saying it, but that's the way it's going to be, and I don't think it's going to change.
Can I just ask quickly about this Ben Hunt thing? Because I've heard numerous. Is he meant to stay till the end of this year, or is he staying for the whole contract? So I got so confused with too many outlets, and I couldn't be bothered listening anymore. But I just needed an update.
The Dragons are saying he is staying until the end of 2025. He is here until the end of his contract. Most media outlets are saying bullshit. He'll be
end of the year.
They're just delaying. They're trying to get as much as they can from the Titans, and it's going to happen. Like it's going to happen. He will leave. So the media outlets are saying they are certain he is going to leave at the end of the season. The Dragons are saying no, he's not leaving at the end of the season. He is here until the end of his contract. He's not.
Yeah, that's what I thought I heard Ryan Carr say. It was in the background. I'm like, oh, what's going on? So thank you for that. That's all I wanted to ask.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Shane Flanagan sort of intimated on radio the other day as well. Jesse?
I just want to double down on that too. I was watching 100% footy last night. Gus was saying how he's linked to the Broncos to join them immediately. Apparently, he never requested to leave immediately. That was all bullshit. Gus said it was all scuttlebutts, and he said more likely he should be the captain. No, sorry, he didn't say that. But what he said was he's not a fan of these mid-season transfers, and he did touch on that.
Well, he said there should be he said if Ben Hunt wants to leave, he should go in a draft.
That's right.
There should be a draft.
And the Broncos shouldn't get first pick of it. It should go.
The Dragons get first pick, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the next team above, which is the
Tigers. Or the Tigers. But I get what he's saying. That these mid-season transfers really need to be looked at because it's a bad look for the game.
Yeah. And again, I think that's a thing that not Dragons fans, but rugby league fans in general have been saying for 15, 20 years, maybe longer. It's been a long time of these ridiculous mid-season transfers, and people hate them. People have always hated them, but they've never done anything about it.
What Jesse just said, it just proves that Buzz Rothfield is full of shit. Because he's the one that come out and said he asked for an immediate release. And Jesse's now saying that he'd never asked for an immediate release. He asked for a release from his 2 years that he just signed.
Well, again, you've got to understand the relationship between Buzz Rothfield and Phil Gould and take both of what they're saying with a grain of salt. They fucking hate each other. If Buzz Rothfield says that he asked for an immediate release, of course Phil Gould's going to come out and say, no, he never asked for an immediate release. Neither of them fucking know. They're both talking out their ass.
There's three sides to that story too.
Well, he actually did. Well, last week they actually asked him, "Oh, why won't Luke Brooks sign with the Tigers?" He said, and he came out and said he's committed. He signed with someone. A week later, news comes out he signed with Manly. So he does know his stuff, Gus. Got to give him that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the thing that frustrates people more often than not with Gus is that they hate what he's got to say, and then he turns out to be right. So fuck Gus. All right, Rob. Brett Campbell has big concerns about Tyrell Sloan. He asks, how can a bloke that can't tackle, defend, or position himself correctly and is scared to catch a high ball, how is he able to play NRL for any club?
Well, in answering those questions, I wouldn't say he's scared to make a tackle. I mean, he has made tackles. He has missed tackles. The high ball, yes, is a big concern, without a doubt. And it's not just Sloan. I've seen other fullbacks as well too. Let the ball bounce. I mean, it's absolutely number one rule for a fullback, or let alone wingers, to catch the high ball or make an attempt to catch the high ball. Yeah. So for me, first of all, with Sloan, I think no matter what, you've got to make an attempt to catch the high ball to defuse it. If you drop it, you drop it. With that, defence, yes, obviously he's got to improve. I think it's timing. It's yes, his size as well too. Yes, and he seems to try and tackle from side on, not necessarily front on. Maybe in the off season with Flano, with the fitness, hopefully this Andrew Gray comes in. He's absolutely magnificent, Andrew Gray. Great background with the fitness. And I'm sure they can bulk him up a little bit as well too, make him stronger. He's only still a young guy. And then Donny, sorry, there was a high ball, it was the defence, and what else was there, mate? There was the. I'll just say, yeah. Just
sorry. I was just searching through a few other things. So yeah, I mean, basically everything to do on the defensive side of the ball. So tackling, positioning, everything that's not attack. He has an issue. He says Tyrell Sloan's not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, look, before that with Dufty as well too. So mate, it's a hard one. I think maybe the coach coming in, Flano, will be a big help to Sloan. Hopefully he can hold on for the rest of the season. His attack is so powerful. He's such a powerful weapon for us. And hopefully, slowly but surely, he can improve. But in answering that question, again, repeating myself, if he makes a better attempt at maybe catching the ball, trying to catch it more often. I mean, I know there's some really high balls that are going up. I mean, Matt Burton, and I think the Canberra halfback and the last game Canberra played, I mean, they're massive bombs. I get it. But just trying to bloody catch the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's the key, mate. And that was the issue last week. It wasn't that he didn't, I guess he didn't try and catch the ball, but it was the fact that he never looked at the ball.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that was the Jackson forward try. He did not even look at the ball. He was always looking at the Warriors player that was going to catch it, and then he tried to tackle him, and forward stole the ball off him and ran away and scored a try.
Well,
if he competes for the ball, he either catches it or forces an error, or maybe he catches it.
That's a massive issue, Donny. Going to another sport, I'm involved with soccer pretty heavily, right? And a soccer goalkeeper. So soccer goalkeeper is getting a corner in. If he's watching the player and not watching the ball, he's not going to be able to catch the ball, right? So at the end of the day, the same thing with Sloan. You've got to watch the ball, the high ball, all the time while you're trying to catch it. If you take your eye off it for 1 split second, let alone not watching it at all, then so that's got to be addressed without a doubt. I mean, and if that's been happening once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, it's repetitive. It's a fault that needs to be corrected. So hopefully Ryan Carr has picked up on it. I mean, if we're picking up on it, if our supporters, fans, surely the club, the coaching staff can see that and they'll work on it and they'll address it, moving forward.
Yeah. Again, we got a few questions on Sunday night about Cody Ramsey, and we've got another one tonight from Justin Melton asking about whether Cody Ramsey's going to be back. I sort of avoided it on Sunday. I've sort of avoided it again tonight, but I mean, the truth is that we have no idea about Cody Ramsey. I personally don't think there's any chance he comes back. The most recent thing that I heard was he had another sort of setback, and things were not looking all that good. So he's still trying. He's still hopeful. He's still holding out hope. And we're sending best wishes to Cody Ramsey and hope that he can come back. But I think even if he does get back to being able to absorb contact, to be able to somewhat be able to play a contact sport, I don't think he ever gets back to NRL level. So I think it's an incredibly hard road, and it would be an absolute miracle if Cody Ramsey gets back. I know that's sad and not necessarily what people want to hear, and I've got to be honest, it might not even be true, because we don't have any facts at the moment. There hasn't been any official update on Cody Ramsey for a long time. So we watch this space. We hope that everything's okay with Cody, but I don't. I wouldn't be banking anything on him.
I think Jesse was saying a few weeks ago that he'd seen you at a local footy game and he's looking skinny. Was that right, Jess?
That was back in April. He was at the He was at the New South Wales Cup game. Yeah, he was looking very skinny. His
Yeah.
steps were very he wasn't walking great. No, his strides weren't great. He still looked a little
Yeah.
frail. So I think he's still got I don't know how many surgeries he's got to go. I think he's got one or
I think I
two.
already had one to go, and then the doctors will tell him whether he can come back or not.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get an update for the club
Well,
from the club
Donny,
before the end of the year.
When we
Donny-
had NRL physio on, he said like it's an ongoing. It's not a straightforward process. It's not a matter of going, okay, so that's the end of his surgeries now. We'll see if he can come back. It's like, well, he'll go from let's start jogging, and then he might have a setback when he's jogging, and then that might lead to another operation. Like he could have another 50 operations between now and when he's actually able to come back. I just think it's very, very long odds. Rob?
Yeah, sorry, Donny. But yeah, I want to ask you a question. Just going back to Sloan, I think he's a confidence player as well too. You could see in the game, not the last South game, the game before that, when he busted a bit, he had a poor game, and he was literally crying. If you remember, on the Latrell Mitchell went to his aid, etc. So my question is for you, Donny. What do you think about him for the future with Flano coming in? You think Flano will do what we're talking about? Will fix up these areas that need to be improved?
I think there's a lot of good to come, mate. I think there's a lot of players that you'll see marked improvement from under Shane Flanagan, and I think we have to, because like we've got 5 players off contract at the end of this year. All 5 of them are outside our best 17. So the players are going to get replaced with, you've got to think, are going to be fringe players at best. We're not going to get a superstar that's going to come in and completely change his team. We don't have the money. So unless this whole Ben Hunt thing works out in our favour, we're going to have the same team next year that we've got this year, and we're relying on Shane Flanagan being able to get the best out of the players that are here. Developing a game plan that suits the players that are here, not trying to get those players to suit his game plan. That's what we need. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we want to see. And Tyrell Sloan is in that bracket. I think Tyrell Sloan has all of the skills. I think Tyrell Sloan has the same skill set as a Tommy Turbo. Yeah. I think that he can do everything that Tommy Turbo does. And having a coach that can potentially unlock that, yeah, I think the potential is limitless. At the moment, we're not seeing that. We are seeing exactly what Brett Campbell has said. Like, we are seeing a guy that looks like he's scared to catch a high ball. We're seeing a guy that is scared to run the ball back. We're seeing a guy that isn't executing defensively. He's not making good enough contact to allow the others to come in and help him and stop players from scoring tries. So I think there's a lot of issues that need to be sorted out, but I think he has all of the skills, and a good coach, like we all hope that Flanagan is, I think he can make him a very, 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 very good player. So I'm hopeful.
And to be fair, one more quick point on Sloan and also Sullivan and Amon. I think with bloody Hook's terrible coaching, these young boys were always scared if they dropped the ball, if they made mistakes, they're going to be back in bloody well reserve grade, So they've always had that pressure on them, since they've come in the grade and come in the NRL. So I reckon the change of coach is going to do wonder for these young boys, to be honest with you. I'm a believer.
I don't know if that's all that unusual. I was actually listening to Mick Puff Foster on the All Fired Up VOD last night, and he sort of said Ben Hornby, when he made his debut, made a couple of errors and didn't think he'd ever play again. So I think a lot of players have that fear when they make a mistake that it's going to cost them their career straight away. And
I didn't mean career, I just meant getting dropped.
No, I know, but that's the fear from any young player that comes up into first grade. You make one error, and all of a sudden you think, that's it, I'm done. I'm never going to play again. And
we saw that from Tyrell Sloan to Charity Shield.
Well, mentality is such a key aspect of the game. It makes and breaks a lot of professional footballers and to be fair, across a lot of other professions as well. Coco, you had your hand up there?
Yeah, I was just gonna reply to like what Rob was saying about the young guys. I think having a good mindset of a coach. You know, we remember the Bennett days and how Jamie Soward even Jamie Soward was a kicker and he didn't have a lot of confidence, but once Bennett got into him and he was still doing the 2-pointers and his confidence was up. When you have a coach that has that confidence in you and actually will sit with you and tell you what to do or how to do it, because I still remember when Hook didn't actually tell Zach Lomax why he went to New South Wales Cup. So to have a coach that didn't just disregard them or disrespect or not have that openness with them, and I think
it wasn't just Zach Lomax either. I mean,
it was everyone else. Yeah,
there were stories from Jack Kaczewski how he got dropped and never got told how to get back into first grade. Josh Kerr said the same thing at the start of this year, saying that he got dropped down to reserve grade, went and asked Hook, well, what have I got to do to get back in the top grade? And Hook just said, I just keep doing what you're doing, mate, you're fine. And that was it. That was all the feedback he got.
Yeah,
just keep doing
exactly.
what you're doing, and never got back in. So having a coach that actually communicates with you, it might actually inspire a little bit of confidence.
Yeah,
anyway, we'll move on because we've still got a lot to get through. Hasman, no big surprises. Jack Bird is out once again with a knee complaint. Again, the club has kind of downplayed the injury in the team release. Do you think? Do you believe the club that it is a minor issue and Bird will be back next week? Or are you expecting that Bird will succumb to this issue at some stage and end his season early with surgery?
I have a suspicion, based on what I saw last week, he's nowhere near 100% fit. I think this knee soreness, as they're calling it, is a lot more serious than what they're letting on, and I think he will succumb to it at some point. Even though he did play 80 minutes, he only had 9 runs for 70 meters, which is well below what we've seen from him in the past. So, I mean, there's every chance he shouldn't have played that game at all to begin with. But for him to put up that sort of a performance after having time off for an injury would say to me, no, he's not over it, and this may be the end of Jack Bird.
Yeah, it certainly didn't look good on the weekend. I'm always wary of judging guys when they are clearly broken. I know Bird hasn't had the best of seasons before that, and it was an absolutely dreadful performance. But I don't think he was anywhere near that bad in the early part of the season when he was fitter. I think he is struggling with a knee issue. I think it's more serious than the club is letting on. And I think that he does need to have a clean out or have some sort of surgery to sort it out, and that may very well end his season. But I think that's going to be the best thing for Bird, because he's not helping us if he's playing the way that he is, because he looks completely broken. Big T, Ben Murdoch-Masila, again on the edge. It feels like we talk about this a lot. We pretty much talk about this every show. But what is it that the coaching staff see in Big Ben on the edge that we don't?
You've got to play Ben Murdoch in the middle and McLean just to run straight. He runs sideways, man. Like, he's worse than Jack Bird sometimes. When you've got one edge running in this way and one edge running that way, they're all running in the middle anyway. He played 59 minutes last week for 8 runs and 55 meters. That's just not acceptable. And then they drop Musgrave. I don't understand it. Musgrave would be better off running on the edge. Yeah, but he was running a lot more like Josh Kerr lately, so hopefully he can pick up a bit and come in for that position that Josh Kerr used to have. But Ben Murdoch-Masila, come on, man, you've got to do something.
Well, his 100th game this weekend, a milestone game for Big Ben.
Oh.
Is that going to be enough?
He can play well.
Is that going to be enough to inspire him though? Playing in his 100.
He can play well. You've seen him play well, but that was a while ago. How old is he now? 20, 28, 29 or something?
No, he's in his 30s.
Oh, is he? So he's coming to the end.
I don't think he's far into his 30s, but I think, I think he is into his 30s.
Yeah, but I think he's just got to pick up. I hope his wife's a better player than he is.
She'll be an important player because we don't have a lot of experience in that pack either. So.
32.
So he's probably got 2 years left.
Yeah, if that. I think he's done at the end of his contract, mate. He's got another year left with us, and I think that's it.
No, someone will pick him up. Tigers will pick him up.
Well, I don't think so, mate. I think he's going.
No, I think he's done. Yeah.
England.
Yeah. I agree. I think I said it last week or Sunday.
I was excited.
Well, I think that he can be effective playing through the middle of the field. I just don't think
he's going to run straight though.
Hook saw him as a second rower. That's the reason why Hook actually brought him to the club, because he played second row when Hook was assistant coach at Samoa, was it?
Tonga.
I don't know. Well, that'll get me bashed in Mount Druitt, that's for sure. Confusing those two, but when Hook was the assistant coach, he had Ben Murdoch-Masila played on the edge there and was really effective, and that was why Hook wanted to bring him to the Dragons to play on the edge. So he's always seen him as an edge player. I don't think he cuts it. I don't think he cuts the mustard, and I'm surprised that Ryan Carr hasn't made that adjustment.
He doesn't last long too. He gets gassed very quickly.
Yeah, well, you need your edge players to be 80-minute players, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last week we had Bird, Sewer, and the Bell all play 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, Bird had to go to the centre when Sully went, so
yeah,
that didn't work. Anyway.
Anyhow,
Jesse, Toby Couchman back and Jaden Hunt back. Are you happy to see these two back in our 17?
Yes, Toby Couchman. Another one you said a few weeks ago, like he scored a try and he was dropped. He scored a try in that Dolphins game. Jaden Hunt, I thought he probably played his best game in the top grade a couple of weeks ago at Souths. I didn't know he had that much speed, to be honest. But yeah, I didn't think Hunt would actually get back in. I thought he would have gone with maybe Ryan Couchman to see how they both go in the top grade. Who knows? Maybe Ryan could be a late inclusion. Never know. I think Toby Couchman is. I think he's a must to have in that 17 now. That I'm going forward into next year. I think, and he deserves another opportunity to see if he can get some longer minutes and make a real impact on the bench. I think we're lacking size on that bench there. Jaden Hunt, I'm not too sure. Yes, as I said, he had his best game in first grade a couple of weeks ago, but I was a bit touchy about that one. But see how he goes if he gets the chance on Thursday night.
I know we've definitely got a couple on the panel that aren't big fans of Jaden Hunt's work, and I'm not a huge fan, but I'm certainly not the. I tend to agree. I think he did play his best game in his last game in the top grade. It wasn't just the try that he scored. I thought he did a couple of good things, but it probably wasn't good enough for me to say that he's an out-and-out first grader or deserves a chance in our top grade. I think there's a few other guys that should be bashing down the door a little bit before Hunt. I'm also surprised that Jaden Hunt doesn't ever seem to play reserve grade. He very rarely seems to go back and play in the lower grade. So he's not putting up numbers in that lower grade comp. When he's not playing NRL, he's sitting on the bench in the NRL. So he doesn't seem to go back and play all that many games in the lower grades, which I find a little strange for a guy that's a fringe player that seems to always force his way into the 17. Hasman's just sent me a message. He's got a reboot, so I hope I don't have another question for him in the near future. He's having some dramas technically, but we'll get back to Hasman shortly. But yeah, I think I love seeing Toby Couchman back in the top grade though. His numbers over the last few weeks. He played 80 minutes in the front row last week in New South Wales Cup. 80 minutes as a front rower. and ran for over 244 meters. I think he ran for, and made 60 tackles. So he's an absolute machine. Like he is a real. I think he'll be pushing for New South Wales selection within a year or two. That's how good he is.
His brother was just tremendous as well.
Although they both had almost identical numbers. I think one of them had 254 meters, the other had 244 meters. That's phenomenal run meters. That is world-class run meters. And both of them, one had 58 tackles, the other had 60. Like ridiculous numbers from those two.
Yeah, I've got Ryan's stats here. He had one try, 254 meters, 101 post contact, 56 tackles.
You're stealing my question, Jesse.
Yeah, and you know that's pretty much bang on what I said. But yeah, no, I think I think Toby's a good inclusion, but I think we also have to keep in mind that look at those numbers over 80 minutes for Toby Couchman. That's his skill. That is what he brings to a team. He is a starter. He is a guy that starts, gets through a fuckload of work, and just absolutely kills it. Like he's not a guy that comes off the bench and has an impact. He'll get out there and he'll do his job and he'll do just fine. But he's going to be such an asset to this club once we realise that he's got to be a guy that's starting this game and playing big minutes. If he starts and plays 60 minutes, I think he's going to show that he should be doing that every week in the NRL. All right, moving into talking a little bit about lower grades. We sort of touched on last week's lower grades, but a huge weekend for our New South Wales Cup and our Jersey Flegg this weekend that I think could be season defining if we can get wins. Our New South Wales Cup team have won 5 of their last 7 and are now just 3 competition points from 5th spot. A month ago, that seemed impossible, but this weekend we are up against the 2nd placed Newtown Jets on Saturday at 3 p.m. at Henson Park. Trey Stewart is back. He doesn't need a passport to get to Henson Park, but named at 5'8", with Paul Turner staying at fullback is an interesting move, but not the first time Goodwin has gone with this option. Alec Tuatavake has been named at lock, with Ryan Couchman named 18th man for NRL. So there could be a late change here. Obviously, Couchman, if he doesn't play, then expect him to drop back and play New South Wales Cup and take this role from Alec. But if not, I think it could be an interesting role for Alec and a chance for him to play bigger minutes to see how he's going fitness-wise. And no Viliami Fafita. He missed last week as well, and I was told there was no known injury, but you'd have to assume now that he is carrying an injury. Maybe the club has finally decided to give him a few weeks off to get his rumoured sternum injury right. I've heard that a few times that he's carrying a sternum injury. Maybe finally the club have actually decided to get this right before throwing him out there. In any case, it gives Jacob Webster and Nick Sagranis their opportunities against a pretty bloody good Newtown side. A similar story over in the Jersey Flegg with a great win last week over the Storm. They're now only 2 wins from the Storm in 5th. But the Sharks are no joke in this comp either, sitting in 4th, but they have lost 3 of their last 4 games. Hamish Stewart, Jet Liu, and Lycan King Togia are back after going up to the New South Wales Cup last week. Interestingly, Jacob Webster has been named in this team as well, so expect him to drop out of the Cup team with some late changes on Saturday. This game is actually played at Shark Park from 5:35 p.m. on Thursday before the NRL game. So interesting to see an under-21s game played on a Thursday night. That doesn't happen too often. All right, what we're going to go into now is a brand new intro. Never seen before. So let's have a look at it.
They're slugging it out in the middle of the field. The Dragon's front row has knocked his block off.
His block is knocked off?
It's time to look at the one-on-one battles that will decide the game. Will it be the key position players? Will the fight be won out wide? Or will it be one up front? Strap yourself in for Coco's Classic!
Welcome to Coco's Clashes, ladies and gentlemen. So this week we play the Sharks at Shark Park. It's a rival. So mine number one for the game would be the Sevens, Hunt versus Hines. It is the Sevens, I think, is the most crucial in both teams. They're the kickers, they're the power of the play, directing the play, and they're both top of the halfback. So I believe, and the one might be our captain. The other one is a Dally M player of the year. So this is crucial for both teams, especially our team. So I do like that one. My next one, now for the Sharks, there are a few players, but I think the fullback number one, Kennedy, and sorry everyone, it's the center, Mulatalo. Sorry if I got that wrong. I believe that with their speed and their ball control, and also the way they run the play, like if we don't have our players to run to make sure that we catch those players, they'll be off and they'll try. So we need all our players to corner them, catch them, do what they want with their back leg, if you want. I'm kidding. But I think they are the crucial players as well. Anybody in on that also. Also, now the locks. The Dale Finucane versus Jack DeBellin. Now that will be a good matchup too. I believe that will be crucial for, especially for Jack DeBellin with his meters, hit ups, and for Dale Finucane also, he's a very good player as well. And I just believe this is going to be for the Dragons, just to maintain that Jack DeBellin will play 80 minutes. Also, the number 5 Mulatalo versus Rafa as well. I believe the speed of them and the tries, I think it's going to be tries galore with those two, because I really should do my homework. I have done my homework, guys. This will be 2 hours and a half. What am I up to? No, that's Ben Hunt and Hunt. Oh my God, I'm sorry, everyone. This is here we go. Right. So between the tries will be 14, and with Rafa, there's 9 tries. However, with tackle breaks, there are 41 for Malata, and for Rafa, there's only like 5. But I still think it's going to be crucial. Okay. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you very much for Coco's Clashes.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. I think in terms of clashes that I'm looking forward to, and this might sound a little strange how terrible we are through the middle, but I think our middles would have been embarrassed by last week's performance and will be keen to show what they're capable of. And I think we've got the Sharks covered with our starters through the middle. I don't sweat Oregon Kaufusi at all. Dale Finucane isn't in great form, and while Hemlin Welle is a big explosive prop, his motor is putrid. And I think we can work him over big time and get the W through the middle of the park. I think that's an area where the Dragons can actually win. Where I'm sort of worried, one I think that the Sharks can dominate is the edge forward battle. I never know who's on what side, but whichever one out of Nakora or Wilton that's up against Murdoch Masilla, either way, I think it's going to be a difficult one for BMM to win. I think the Sharks on paper have the edge on that one. We need Big Ben to be much better than he has been. And for me, the even money battle is Moylan versus Sullivan. I think Sullivan is a better player than Matt Moylan, and I think he can prove it if given the chance. He needs to get a lot of ball and be given the chance to show up Matt Moylan, because I think he can have an absolute blinder in this game in that sort of one-on-one battle. And I think it's a vital battle to be won if the Dragons are a chance. Jesse?
I think they've got us measured on the bench though as well. Like a bench would featuring Cameron McInnes and Wade Graham. Like we don't have names like that on the bench. And usually probably they'd be starters at other clubs. Not sure about Wade Graham.
Well, I was
Cameron
going
McInnes,
to say, as Dan said, I'm behind enemy lines. Wade Graham would be the first player he'd be dropping. Like he's done. Like he's the Sharks version of Jack Bird. Like he is finished.
Cameron McInnes, the handy player on the bench.
Traitorous scum. Last time we had Trader of Scum last week in Jackson Ford, he rolled over the top of us. So maybe McGuinness might do the same. All right, Jesse, I might stay with you. It's Beanies for Brain Cancer round this weekend, and I know this is something that you're quite passionate about. So take us through the cause. Let us know how our viewers and panel members can get involved and make a difference.
So yeah, so it's this. I think it's the 10th year they've had it. According to the site I've looked up anyway. I think it was the NRL site. So yeah, you can get your beanies for $25. So there's two designs. So this one I've got on, and there's also a plain black one. That doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter which one you choose. You can wear either. So they're available at Lowe's, IGA, or at the Mark Hughes Foundation website. Or if you head out to a game this weekend, they should be available at the grounds as well. And yeah, all goes for a good cause. And actually, this week they're looking to sell the millionth beanie since the cause started a few years ago. And Sportsbet will be donating $1,000 for every try scored this weekend. Mark Hughes has put a message to all the coaches: let them loose, no defense this week. Let them rip all tries. More tries, the more money the Mark Hughes Foundation does make.
Well, that'll be good. The Sharks' defense, the Dragons' defense have been lying down for a month, so they've been in good training.
Yeah. And I will go down on. I will go a little bit into a bit of news about brain cancer as well. So I've got some latest figures here. So survival rates have increased by 1% over the last 30 years. Brain cancer kills more children than any other disease. Only 2 in 10 people diagnosed will live more than 5 years. It kills more people under 40 than any other cancer. Receives less than 5% of federal funding for cancer research. And 1 person every 5 hours is diagnosed with brain cancer in Australia. So yeah, it's a great cause. Obviously, Mark Hughes is very passionate about this. I was part of the 5K walk up there in Sydney yesterday. So had walked from the SCG to the Opera House. There is another big walk coming. It's a bigger walk. They're walking from Newcastle to Four Pines Park at Brookvale for the ahead of the Manly Roosters game on Sunday afternoon. So that's a bigger walk, and again, proceeds will go to the Mark Hughes Foundation for that. It's very close to Mark Hughes, obviously, and a lot of people. Channel 9 have someone affected by brain cancer as well in the past. I think one of their staff members or something. Anyone want to have anything to add? What this special round is all about? Anyone have any comments about it?
No, well, obviously it's a really important round, mate, and I think it's always great to see 1,000 beanies and just filling up the stadiums every time this one comes around, and anything that we can do to help and support, I'm sure everybody will get right behind it. All right, we'll move now into some viewer questions. I'll go to you, Rob. The first question from Mad Lad is: how far do you think Ryan Couchman is from making his NRL debut?
I don't think long at all, Donny. Stealing a bit of the thunder was my good mate Jesse from me. Ryan's 19 years old. Just looking at these stats from the last match, unbelievable, mate. 254 running meters. We're notching up over 100 post-contact meters in the 80-minute performance. And he also scored a try and got a line break and made 56 tackles with 4 misses. I mean, that's just unbelievable numbers, like what we're talking about his brothers. So these two boys obviously are going to be awesome for us. And, and Ryan, I think he can't be that long in getting a game. I mean, we're busted, we're running last at the moment in the comp and all that. So going back to what we're talking about, maybe blooding some of these guys, the younger boys, why not give him a run, give him a go, you know what I mean? With numbers like that, you just can't, you can't knock him back, mate. He's got to get a start maybe sometime. So, yeah, I say bring him on.
He's 18th man this week, so he must be close.
Yeah,
I think that's the key factor, isn't it? He's been named as 18th man. That's the first time he's been in the extended squad. He could play this weekend. Like, he could be brought into the squad this weekend as a late inclusion. I think there's every chance of that happening. But if you have a look at the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in New South Wales Cup for Ryan Couchman, 124 metres, 204 metres, 159 metres, 115 metres, 161 metres, 122 and 254 metres. I mean, yeah, his numbers, twice over 200 metres in the last few weeks, and half a dozen times over the 150 metre mark. And then you look at his tackle stats, and 56, 24, 51, 31, 34, 36, 37. He doesn't miss many either. Like, he's a guy that is showing that at 19 years of age, he's ready for the NRL. Throw him in there now. Get him in there as soon as possible. Big T?
Oh, sorry.
What's the size of these boys? I haven't couldn't find any information on them.
I don't know. You've seen them. I don't know exactly what their height and weight is, but
yeah,
they're
because
both the same. They're twins. They're not huge.
I understand that.
They're not huge, mate. They're not
huge. So he's got
they're not. They're, I don't know, 180, 190 centimeters.
Okay.
And around that sort of 100, 105 kilo mark, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but we're saying we need big boppers to come through the middle, and if these boys can do it, I hope they can, because they are good players. I just wondering what size they were.
Yeah, they're not huge, and again, they're work rate players. These are guys that
Ruben Cotter size.
No, they're bigger than Cotter. They're bigger than Ruben Cotter. They're normal front rower size. They're just not monstrous front rower size. Like, they're not just short impact players that are going to play 20 minutes and change the momentum of the game. These are the guys that are going to be out there in the middle for 80 minutes. They're going to make 50, 60 tackles every single week. They're barely going to miss one, and they're going to run for 150, 200 meters every single week. Like, that's what they're going to do. And if you got two blokes in the middle, but they're both playing 80 minutes, gives you a lot more freedom to do some weird and funky stuff with your bench, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Would you say they've got a similar frame to a Jack DeBellin or someone? Would you compare it to someone?
I think DeBellin's probably the most similar comparison.
Well, hopefully they're half as good as that bloke.
I think they'll be better than DeBellin.
Cool. Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah. I don't get to watch much lower grades, but because my wife says I watch too much footy now, so I don't get to watch much junior boys.
You remember we used to have a player called Michael Wayman? He would go all day, absolutely all day. You know what I mean?
I never heard of him.
No. What was it? A glancing blow on his head in the grand final, wasn't it? Glancing blow. I reckon he got smacked hard.
Yeah. All right, Hasman, he's back with us. Probably a better question for Muzzer, given he's the multi-man, but unfortunately he was, as I said, caught swearing the captain. I gave him a 1 VOD suspension. So I'll give you Rory McDonald's question about the Dragons being $6.70 with Sportsbet in a 2-horse race. Do you think the odds are a fair reflection of our chances in this game, or are we a better chance than that?
I think we're a slightly better chance than that, but I'd say that that figure's sort of in the ballpark. When we saw it, we've already been through the sort of the ins and outs of where the battle will be sort of won and lost, and I just think the Cronulla bench is just so much better than ours. I mean, Cameron McInnes and Wade Graham, I mean, they'd pretty much walk in any other starting side. So that shows you how strong they are. But I just get the feeling that they are going to attack that left edge again and again and again and again, and they're idiots if they don't. So it's up to us to figure out, okay, so how many tries can we score, given they're probably going to score about 3 or 4 down that side.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think again, going back to behind enemy lines, Dan indicated the Sharks are not very good at finding an advantage and then taking advantage of it again and again and again and again, like you say. They tend to go there a couple of times early and then don't go back. But yeah, after seeing what happened on that side for the Dragons over the last number of weeks, you'd think that'd be pretty stupid not to attack that edge pretty consistently throughout this game. And I tend to agree. I think the $6.70 it looks juicy, but I think it's juicy for a reason. I think the betting agencies know what they're talking about. Big T, I'm just going to apologise in advance for this question because I don't think anybody's going to have an answer. But Rick Haynes asked the question, so I'll throw it to you. He raises the question again of the salary cap relief we were granted for Cody Ramsey and wants to know why we're not using it.
Well, that's another scratch my head moment with the Dragons. I don't know. I did read somewhere that they couldn't use they weren't able to use them till Aaron Woods left. They filled up their 30-man squad or something and couldn't use the money till Aaron Woods left. And I'm not sure who they're looking at, if they're looking at anyone. It doesn't give us any advantage not using it, does it? I'm not sure.
No,
like it's not going to roll over to next year. It's not.
No, we can't carry it forward. We can't use it to upgrade an existing player's contract. If we don't,
it's got to be
use
like
it, then
for
it's
like.
gone. Yeah, so that like if we don't use it, it's gone. And it was pointless fighting for it in the first place. Like, and
Yeah,
they did.
right.
They had to fight for it because it doesn't fit the criteria to get that exemption. So we had to actually go through the NRL and talk to them and explain exactly what was going on, why we needed it, why we're entitled to it. And now then we haven't used it.
Yeah. But aren't Manly looking for a compensation for losing Tom Trbojevic? And I don't understand that one either.
So that one they get that one fits the criteria. If a player is injured playing rep footy, then you get them. You are immediately guaranteed compensation.
Oh, that's a bit of a long shot getting injured in rep footy. That's a long shot.
Yeah,
like he gets injured every week playing for them.
Yeah, but he got ruled out for the season because of an injury he suffered in Origin. So
that's fair. That's fair enough. If you get injured in Origin, and
it encourages teams like the teams are the ones that pay their salary. Like they pay those players, and this is I suppose compromise they came to.
That's a pretty nasty injury. Pretty nasty injury that he suffered. Like
a pec, yeah.
Pec, mate.
That's a huge one. Yeah. It's looking like season ending. So
a lot of people saying Manly might go after RTS for the rest of the year because they've got enough money to actually get him.
Yeah. We
Anthony Seibold's already denied it. He said Ruben Garrick's the fullback for the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, that's because RTS probably said no.
Yeah, probably.
Well, he's going to the Warriors next year anyway.
Well, why would you want to play for Manly anyway?
Why would anyone want to play for Manly?
That's right. Exactly right. Everyone hates Manly.
You idiot. Anyway. Chloe, Mad Lad wants to know if we agree with Racine McGregor that Tegan Berry is the fastest player in the NRLW.
I don't really know this question, but I think she could be. Jesse, you're all over and the women's. Is she the fastest player? I was trying to look up Google. Google did not help me.
I think she'd go very, very close. I think
she was a state sprint champion. Like she's pretty bloody sharp.
Yeah, there's been a few names brought up as well. Someone's mentioned Jamie Chapman. She's quite fast.
I reckon she's got Chapman covered. I reckon she's got Chapman covered. She was the only one I thought of.
Jada Taylor's another one. She ran 110 meters last year.
You know, like back way like in years ago, you know, on like grand final day, or like one player.
The speedsters?
Like, I used to love that. I was like, who could win? It was like
it's been mentioned a couple of times.
Yeah, I would love that to come back and
the
then
best speedsters in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah. Anyway, she said that. Yeah.
All right. Anybody getting this news about Reece Walsh?
Nothing
Still
yet.
going on, isn't it?
No,
4
it's,
hours.
it's just come
It's
through.
hit 4 hours.
I just got an update just got sent to me, so I was just trying to read
Oh,
it.
what is that? Is he
He's
guilty?
he's been found guilty.
Oh, see, that's what you do for using terse language at the ref.
Well, hang on.
I'm just
do this,
trying to find out
we get
how
too
long he's
carried
been
away.
given.
How do you find that
what
big
a shame he
T?
can't be in Origin.
If
Oh,
you miss
yeah.
Origin 3, what happens there, you think?
Oh, that's all right. We'll bring Ponga back in for Origin 3. So we have got a backup.
You're not going to put Hammer there? Ponga's already ruled
I'll
himself
bring
out.
Ponga back. I'll bring Kalen back. Kalen can come back and come back and play. Yeah.
Who cares? They could put you back there as a dead rubber.
I
If they
know,
put me
right?
back there, they win anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You had your party.
Because the
you had your
fullback doesn't
party
have to
at
make
game
tackles
2.
because your front line makes all their tackles.
I'm big enough. I can cover the whole field. So
You got your mate Tino there.
Too good, mate.
Sailor's
Too good.
gonna, Tristan Sailor's going to get a run, I imagine, now. Take that fullback. For the
Why
Bron-
not?
Hmm.
Why not?
No, not at State of Origin. I mean,
No, for Brisbane. Unless
Exactly.
they put Selwyn Cobbo there.
Yeah, no, I think, like you said, put Hammer back there. You can put
Well, Gagai's injured,
Callum
so
Ponga back.
just put Ben Hunt
so-
there. Put Ben Hunt.
Oh, anybody. Put, yeah.
and
He'll
Corey
play
Horsburgh's
anywhere
going to
for
come in, I
Queensland.
heard.
Absolutely.
Is that?
Corey Horsburgh's come in.
I don't think
Come in
Corey
'cause I'm
Horsburgh's
Flegler.
going to play fullback, mate.
Yeah.
Big
No,
Red,
I
look at
like
Big
Big
Red.
I
The
like
tough
Big
of that
Red.
one.
I heard he could come in for
Corey
Tom
Horsburgh.
Flegler.
Lennon, get Horsburgh for us.
Yeah,
Tino.
Brisbane's season is on the decline, isn't it now? They've lost 2 big forwards and and now fullback. So
Yeah, and they're playing at the Gabba this week. The Gabba.
oh my Gabba.
Yeah, well, obviously, Women's World Cup training and all that sort of stuff's taken over a few venues. So a few clubs don't have all their home venues available to them. So the Dragons being one of them, we don't have Cogger available to us anymore. So all our games are at Win until the conclusion of the World Cup. Rob,
Yo.
Rory McDonald has he's made a story about Manly having to unload players after signing Luke Brooks and Tommy Talau, as well as extending Kohler, and wants to know which players Flano should bring with him from Manly.
Well, I came up with 3, right? So I'm not too good on Manly players, but I've done my best here. Samulia Fenu, if that's how you pronounce it. Big T. There's hard bloody names like Tino's
There are
names.
some hard names out there.
Yeah.
Samuela Fainu.
Yes, thank you, Jesse. I knew you knew. So prop, I
He knows
believe.
everything.
Oh, no.
Yes, he is a bit like that. Morgan Harper, and then possibly Brad Parker. But yeah, Morgan Harper and Samilia. Yeah, so but a prop wise, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Donnie, you probably know more about the Manly players than what I do.
I can't say I know a lot about the Manly players, but I don't think I'd be looking at Harper and Parker just quietly.
No,
Yeah.
not
those guys.
Scorpio.
What about the
Scorpio from
prop?
The Simpsons.
What about the prop? How's he go?
Taniela Paseka? Is that
He's
the one you're
up
talking
there.
about? He's a bloody good player. I'd be looking at him for sure.
So off contract players, right?
I don't know if he's off contract, but
I'd like to look at Bullymore, bring Bullymore over. He's not a bad player
He's
over
off
there at
contract, I'm
Manly.
pretty sure, yeah.
I think he's off contract at the end of this season. So, yeah, he's not a bad edge player, I think he is. So I'd like to see him come over.
What about Sipley? Anyone know much about him? Toff
They've got
Sipley,
some
is it?
big boys at Manly.
Toff Sipley. I mean, just going back to Paseka, I don't know if he's off contract, but 197 centimetres, 120 kilos. He's
Exactly
played
what we're looking for.
15 games this year, averaging 145 metres. He's actually been flying well under the radar, I think, at Manly, and he'd certainly be one that I'd be considering.
But doesn't this go back to what we've just been going through with Ben Hunt? If they're still on contract and then getting a release?
Well, I guess the story is that Manly have spent all their money. They've got no money left, and they need to get rid of some players. So if they need to get rid of some players, it's like, well, you look at their good players and go, well, we'll take that good player. Obviously, Josh Schuster's the name that comes up because they've got a couple of halves he wants to to play in the halves.
But I think there's reports that he's re-signed.
Yeah.
Has re-signed for the
Yes,
for Manly.
today he did. Yeah, I think it was a
Yeah.
4-year deal.
That's
2.5
three.
million or something, wasn't it?
Are there
He's going to
rumours
go
that,
back to the back row.
let's start the rumor that they're getting rid of DCE. They're like, now they go Schuster and Brooks and halves.
Well, DCE is 34 already, so you'd have to think it's not
35
far
early
away.
next year.
Yeah. But I think he's signed for the next couple of years anyway. So
Yeah, I was going to say he'll be there until he retires.
Bring in DCE, bring in DCE, and you can play Ben Hunt to their 40 at the Dragons.
And I guess that's probably Manly's plan, isn't it? Like they have DC and Brooks for the next couple of years, and then DCE retires, Brooks goes to halfback, Schuster back into the halves, into the.
Would you move
5-8
Schuster to the
role,
lock?
maybe. Well, that's where it'll go for the time being, 100%. But he still wants to
Jake will play
long-term
lock, I
play
think.
halves. Jake's done, mate.
Yeah.
Jake's a
I think
bench
he
player.
is.
Schuster's a better option than Jake. He's much more dynamic. Jake's just a tackling machine. Like
He's like he's a
Schuster-
wholehearted player. I see.
Schuster's just going to offer so much more to him in attack if he can get fit.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I think so. Yeah.
We might move on from Manly. All right. Oh, here we go. What's happened in the chat there? Okay. All right, we'll get into this.
All I want, all I need, all I crave is a big multi. All I want, all I need, all I crave is a big multi. London multi.
All right. Well, no muzzer tonight. He sent through his multi, so I'll just bring it up here and go through it. So again, he's got the 4 anytime try scorers looking to have some success with this one. Keon Koloamatangi, anytime try scorer for the Rabbitohs against the Warriors. That one's going to be a tough one to get across the line. The Warriors, one of the best defensive teams in the comp, but Keon's certainly capable of getting across the line and offering some good value. Brian To'o, as anytime try scorer against in the Storm Panthers game. Again, that one should be a defensive masterclass and a real grind. But To'o's certainly likely to get across at some point, you would think. Jared Croker as anytime try scorer against the Titans. The Titans do leak some, so that's an option. And Reece Robson as anytime try scorer for the Cowboys against the West Tigers, as they try to overturn the, what was it, 66-18 last time those two teams met? Yeah, let's see if they can turn that one around. So that's Muzz's multi. That's how he thinks some of the other games are going to go this weekend. Again, trying to raise some money for the Family of League Foundation. Haven't had a great deal of success so far, but well, not a great deal. We've had no success whatsoever. But another week, another chance for us to get a win and donate some money to a great cause. We'll move now, before everyone has to head off to bed, into predictions for this weekend. Dragons against the Sharks. I'll just go across the top of my screen and start with Rob Saguna. What are your predictions for Dragons Sharks this weekend?
Mate, I'm hoping for a Dragons win. A close match, I would assume, for us to win the game by a couple of points. I'm going to go Rav for first try scorer and my man Bud Sullivan anytime. And I think it'll be a tight match, and I'm hoping that we will rebound big time from the Warriors' loss. And I'm hoping Mr. King Benny actually makes an effort in the game. And yeah, and we can put in a real solid performance and maybe steal a win and get a win at Shark Park amongst all those fantastic supporters down there. So, vouching for a Dragons win, mate.
We had the only good Sharks fan in the world on earlier on tonight. The rest of them, no good.
We did.
I'm sure
that suck.
I'm sure there's a couple of good ones, maybe, who knows? But I haven't met too many. Jesse, what are your predictions?
I know you don't like this, but I'm going to be a realist. I think the Sharks will, they'll put in a masterclass. I think they'll be too strong. I think they'll win by 18. I think Ronaldo Mulatalo will get the first try. I think Jack DeBellum will get a try at some stage, but I think the Sharks will be way too good at Shark Park on Thursday night.
Yeah, I'm all of a sudden starting to regret the order that I went in, and maybe I should have finished with Rob. I'll go now to Coco.
All right. Well, I'm going to be in Fantasyland. I'm hoping that the Dragons will win because I live in Cronulla, so I want a bit of bragging rights. And I hope Jack DeBellin will be anytime. My man, Bud, to go for first try score. So I'm thinking about 20-10.
All right. Asman.
I've got Sloaners first. Hard to score any time, but I do think Cronulla will be too strong, and I think the margin will be somewhere around about 14-16.
Yeah. All right. Big T.
Save the best to last, eh, mate? You just want to have a look at my background, eh?
That's it. It's a beauty.
That's the beautiful Kalala Beach. That's where I live. It's lovely. Okay, I'm going to be in Fantasyland like Coco is, and like you told us to be weeks ago, Donny, live in Fantasyland. So I'm going to live in Fantasyland, and I'm going to go Dragons to win by 14. Don't know why I said that. But Dragons by 14. I think Couchman can get another try and then get dropped next week. I think he can get a try anytime. I think like you were talking earlier about up the middle. I think Little might be able to score our first try. And I'm sure Rob was saying before he hopes Ben Hunt will have a great game. But now his future for this year is sealed. Like he's playing for us for the rest of the year. We've got to get behind him. He's got to get behind the team. And yeah, like might rain too. So we play better in the rain. So let's do it, Dragons. Red V's a part of me.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna hope that the Dragons are gonna channel some Benny O'Brien energy and forget about defence. Don't worry about defence. We're no bloody good at it. Let's just score more points than the opposition. Let's score a lot of points. Let's make this an absolute attacking masterclass. Let's go out there, throw the ball around, have some fun. Let's really break down the Sharks straight through the middle. I think we've got the better of them through the middle. I don't think their middles are going all that well. Jesse says they've got Cameron McInnes on the bench. Well, we've got Toby Couchman. Wait and see what he's got to offer. He's going to make Cameron McInnes his pet on the weekend. It's going to be a beauty to watch. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Sifa Talakai scores 2 tries during this game. I think Jaden Sullivan scores a try at some stage, and the Dragons win 40 points to 38. We'll wrap it up there. We'll see you on Sunday. Go the mighty Dragons. Come on, Dragons fans. Fire up!
Fire up.
Fire up.
Dragons for life, baby.
Fire up.